The following broadcast of AK's journey on Lichess is sponsored by Razer. Learn more at Razer.com.
Yo, I hope you're ready. These 2 minutes about to change your life. I run this game now. Shout out to Merlin for the beat. Here we go. Gotham on the mic, I'm about to checkmate all these clowns. I'm the internet's chess teacher, class in session, so sit down. Lesson 1, the opening, let's start developing our flow. Take the center, active pieces, now it's time to start the show. You ever seen a rise like Gotham? Million subs in just a year? I changed the game like Alpha Zero, watch these haters disappear. GMs hate me, cause they hate me, try to break me, crush my heart. But they all should take a shower, cause all I smell is salt. Now it's time for lesson 2, middle game strategy. There's verses for a certain schmuck who's taking shots at me. Young ELO stole my fans rap and uploaded as his own. Fake being the 1600, tried to diss me on the throne. You're just 600, dude, let's face it, and you're losing half your games. Go back to begging for attention, don't you ever say my name. Before I en passant your soul, I'll leave you with a gift. You rap well, but your chest is whack, so take this membership. Lesson 3, the endgame, only kings left on the board. Gonna fire on all cylinders until they pull the cord. Call me a sidekick or a lapdog, man, it doesn't matter which. Just take one look in the mirror and you're looking at the bitch. Chess has a new face and it's Gotham, that shit cannot be debated. Blow is sick, highly contagious, you should go get vaccinated. I'm dynamic like the Night Orc, making courses like I'm Geary. Smack you with some rows and gambits while you drown yourself in theory. Now this next line is for Lucy, she's my rock, I love her dearly. Without her there is no Gotham, she's my better half, like clearly. And to all my awesome fans who will be watching on their screens, you all push me to work harder, you're all worth more than a queen. We're in a golden age of chess, the world is watching, view count booming. So enjoy your memes and dreams and leave those art chess haters fuming. One last thing before I go, hope you enjoyed our little chat. There's a new king now on YouTube, so sorry about that. Hey, thank you to every single one of you who continues to support me, man. 1 million in a year is crazy. The sky's the limit. I'll see you on the next track. Peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Let me move my screen up here. Switch it around with the back here. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, I don't know yet. It's always fun trying to customize the layover here. You know what, fine. We're just not going to mess with it, how about that? Yeah, there we go. Hello everyone, my name is AK, I play for the Crestmont University, formerly California Intercontinental University, Team Falcons, and today, or shall I say a couple days ago, I defeated a 2500 Rapid live on stream, and today we're going to specifically be emphasizing that video solely. So without further ado, take a seat, grab some popcorn, because this game is absolute cinema. I don't want to see the analysis board yet. I want to tell you guys how I get from point A to point B completely. But first, I want to make sure that everybody that wants to see this video gets invited. So I've got the Discords here on my phone. Say hello, phone. And we are going to send everything that I know to all the Discords and tell them to actually get on the stream. And you may have noticed this video is sponsored by Razer. More on that soon to come, but right now I cannot disclose any information on that. Thank you. The only thing that I can say is there may or may not be a sponsorship coming for this channel that'll be completely free, that I will be sponsoring or may not be sponsoring a brand. That's all I can say. With that, my opponent here, the 2500, will be playing as the white pieces. I, of course, had the honor of playing the black pieces. And let's get straight into it. Now, if any of you guys saw the match when this happened live, I'm trying to remember the date here, assuming it will actually tell me when it happened, 4 days ago, so that would have been quite literally on the 31st of July. So, gosh, what day would that have been then? I'm very forgetful if you haven't. Friday night. Friday night. Alright, back to the beginning. Queen's Pawn opening. Queen's Pawn allows for a whole bunch of different theories, but if you have been watching my live streams recently, there's a specific opening that I have learned. Say hello to the Horwitz defense. D4, Pawn E6. Now, you may be wondering what the whole point of the Horwitz defense actually is, because you're just allowing white to open the center. Of course, my opponent is seriously decked out. In this mode, he's 25-17 at the time. Currently, he's 24-96 now. He's also 19-12 Blitz. No other modes. Which is just absurd to think about. Let's start with that. Because if you're that good of a player, that's just really absurd to think about. So rather than white taking advantage of the center here, which personally in my opinion would be a better move, for the Horwitz you want to develop very slowly. So here I play, I can't click on the computer, which is stupid, knight to f6. And knight to f6, at first glance, doesn't really do a whole lot. It just says, okay, I'm developing this way. I'm probably castling kingside. What are you gonna do about it? It also says that we're going to go opposite side castling, most likely, and we do see the knight come out. So that is white's initiative, it's gonna do that. Now the third move here is really where the theory begins for it. D5. Now you may be wondering, D5, what does D5 do? The whole point of the Horwitz is that you have a slow development, but you want to forever clamp the E-file as hard as you possibly can. Now white isn't going to let it go easily. He's going to play pawn to E3, opening up this light squared bishop, giving the dark squared knight some opportunities to connect with his brother. White still has a lot of opportunities on castling kingside, or the queen can come to E2 and queenside castling. White is very flexible against the Horwitz. Meanwhile, black, you just watch what your opponent does and play normal theory against it, is really all the opening is. As I said, we want to control the E-file. And this, I personally think of as a huge blunder, in my opinion. White here should always take black's bishop. That's my personal opinion. White here should always take. Let's see what the analysis board says. It actually doesn't recommend you take? Wow. That is bonkers. So instead, black moves back here. And as black, you have... Instead, white moves back here. Black has a couple choices. Please mute the discords. Yes, I've sent out the messages. Either you're on stream right now or you aren't. And I'm not responding to messages. Sorry. Okay. Trying to do a stream here. Because I also have to do what your favorite chess opening says about you. Alright. You have knight c6, pawn c5, or castle. I choose, just like the Caro-Kann, c5. Push that pawn, break the center. Doesn't happen. Then again, though, I should have expected this. This guy's a 2500. Now, at the time here, I have these two settings on. I am blindfold, and I am input moves with voice. Those are the settings that are on when I'm doing this, which is just completely absurd. Absolutely absurd if you come to think of it. Scroll up here again. And then castle. So now everything's very balanced. Neither side really has any tempo. Knight comes out finally. White's declaring which way they want to go. And here is where I have to make a vital decision. Queen to b6. Now at first glance, this seems like a horrible move. There's a free... Surely you just trade bishops now, because you're trying to break the side that white wants to castle. No. I'm now saying, whichever way you castle, I am going to send an attack immediately. You can castle kingside. My bishop's going to trade with yours, and I'm going to slowly but surely ruin your king structure. You can castle queenside, but my queen's infiltrating your b2 square, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it right now. That's the only defense, and that is a perfect defense from white. Seeing moves that defend your pieces is highly important in the opening, especially when you're going up against 2500. Now I take. I say, okay, he's castling queenside. Just take. Takes. Opens up the rook. Rook and queen attacking the square. If I'm stupid, then I'll allow checkmate. Is that mate? No, because knight's there. Gosh, even I'm looking back at this and I'm forgetting I have a knight here defending this. Attacked twice, defended twice, so perfectly fine. Develop my other knight. I'll likely develop my light square bishop to d7. d3. Yeah, that's really all you're going to get in this position. In all fairness, really, that's all you're going to get in this position is a move like that. Sorry, people on stream are telling me to go slower here just slightly. Well, what if I don't want it? What if I don't want to go slower, people? How about that? So, I have 2 defenders and 1, 2, 3 attackers. Obviously, it's not possible to stop the threat then, so the only move you have as black is to allow white to check you. I know, it sounds very stupid, but you have to allow white to check you, and instead he just castles. He completely misses the entire point of the position and castles. I'll push a flank pawn in response. You want to castle, I'll push a flank. I'll try to devour your queen side first. We'll make this a long and harsh game. Racer, if you have, like, a holder for my phone at some point, yeah, just reach out, okay? That would be very helpful. Yeah, so we get the pawn block here. And in this position, I want to ask you what you would do. It seems like a very bland position. Nothing's really happening. What would you do? Of course, it would be extremely hard for you to find a move like this in this position for any of you watching normally. Yeah, just finish development. Just look at your side, do not care about white's side, and just finish your development. Your development's finished, your rooks are connected, everything is being chilly. There's literally nothing that you would complain about in this position. Bishop comes in, attacks the knight. And now this is where the question comes in. Do you or do you not have tunnel vision? I have tunnel vision. I 100% have tunnel vision. My opponent does as well because he literally could have just traded right there and everything would still be fine in his position. Again, I say this a lot. Higher rated players make mistakes a lot. Even if it's basic mistakes, they make mistakes a lot. That's just the harsh reality of playing between 2300 and 2600. You're going to play good at the start, but then make many mistakes in the middle game. So, knight out. And the brilliant pawn to c4 saying, "Get back, knight. You are not starting this attack with your bishop. I will decide when you attack." And he says, "Nay, I still determine this attack." Now, most people would say as black that this is very hard to defend. Yeah, somehow I found knight to e7 when I was playing. I just, immediately when he made that move, I went knight e7, not even thinking what was happening. But not only is this the best move, according to Stockfish, which I literally don't care about the fish. I could care. Oh, it's an inaccuracy. It says bishop e8. Who is finding bishop e8? Who is finding the bishop going? Absolutely nobody. What? Excuse me? Absolutely nobody is finding that move. Are you kidding me? What? Knight takes knight. Now this position is very fun, yet complicated for both sides. And he misses the move that he needed. He needed to commit to the attack and trade yet again. Bishop takes, rook takes. Because then his pieces would still control the middle better, and his queen still has sniper vision, giving him the advantage. Unfortunately, though, he doesn't find it, and instead finds a pawn break. And at this moment, I realize that I can just attack that pawn break. So he attacks me. Now the middle is chaos. Neither side completely owns it, neither side controls it. It's just pure chaos. Had to sneeze there, everyone. Sorry. Alright. Rook e1, attacking the knight. For reference here, white is completely winning. You want to know why they're winning? A knight, a bishop in a Horwitz defense is much more valuable than a knight. Those are the only things that have been traded off the board. Here I find rook AC8. Now, what does this do? It mainly controls the C and D files still. That is literally all it does. Most of you younger ELO players would say, wouldn't you still want to defend your pawn on A5? Absolutely not. It's trapped by A4 and B5. It can't go anywhere. It can't even do en passant. It's just that one friend that you had in elementary school, and then immediately when school ended, they forgot about you. So in the same way, you forget about them and move on with your life playing Rook AC8. Common sense. Knight D2, rerouting. And it takes, obviously. If there's a knight that I can take here against a 2500, my thought process was take. Queen takes. Everything in this position is extremely balanced. Next we come up with Rook C6. Not Rook C... my notation's just off the board. Knight C6. Now wouldn't you say, Aiden, that's a horrible move. No, it's not, actually. If white is stupid enough to take here, you can take with either the queen, the pawn, or the rook, and you have free vision on the b file. It is by far an amazing move. Of course, my opponent is 2500, so he's not that stupid. And instead, for some... this has to be a mistake. F4. Let's check analysis. That's not a mistake. Wow. I'm absolutely flabbergasted as to how that's not a mistake. So we're on 22 here. Okay. What I usually tell people under the 1500 ELO ladder, if a pawn is protecting your king, don't push it. The only push you should do is your most flank pawn. So since I castled kingside, my most flank is H. If I castled queenside, my most flank pawn would be A. Those are really the only pawns you should push that are flank pawns, ideally until the endgame. There are some exceptions to this, but generally, don't push flank pawns, and definitely do not push an F pawn that is protecting a king. Especially 2 squares. 1 square, okay. 2 squares, absolutely not. Sure, the computer likes it, but I absolutely hate this move. And you want to know why? Because now I just simply attack your bishop and it's dead. It's gone. Moving your F pawn just sacked your bishop. And this man doesn't even realize. He's like, nah, everything's okay in this position, man. I didn't see it. Like, what? Are you okay, man? You're just saying, yeah, I want you to come in with your knight. And then he played G4. And I asked him at this moment in the game, I asked one of my colleagues to type in chat these words. Why G4? Your bishop is hanging. You could have at least taken some material. He didn't respond. So I'm like, okay. Fair trade it is. I mean, now, I just butcher your entire position from here. Yeah. Queen takes. Now what? Now what is white? He finds F5. The top engine move. And of course, while I'm playing this, I'm like, what? What does F5 do? I'm completely confuzzled, so I'm like, takes? But I forgot that there's still G4 that he just moved. And at this moment, I facepalmed myself. Because now there are two pushed pawns in my territory. My opponent arguably controls more of the center. My king at least has some more safety, but this is not a fun position as black. I move the rook forward to deny any push of f and e. My opponent here does, and I cannot begin to explain what rook e3 does. As far as I'm aware, it does absolutely nothing. So I just move my rook, and I'm like, okay, 7th rank infiltration, what are you gonna do about it? Rook e2. Now, I'm not fully sure if this guy was hacking. Like, I'm not going to assume that he is. But rook e1, rook e3, rook e2. 3 moves back to back to back spent on rooks, moving the same rook. An advancement of 1 square over the 3 moves, essentially. That seemed a little fishy. I didn't think of it much at the time, and just played on normally. I'm going to full force attack your queen side now, and you don't really have much as white, hopefully, is my thought. And he plays queen f4. What? Okay. So I just moved my queen back. Now you have nothing. You can push e6, but you really have nothing. Like, I can't even begin to comprehend what this guy was thinking. And now, rook f1. I am completely flabbergasted at this point. I play a4 thinking I'm perfectly fine, and white doesn't have much. He still plays f6. It is very hard to find a good move here. But the only move is g7. Because if you keep your king there, it is mate. This will come, a trade will come, and the rook infiltration is just mate. If you kept your bum on the g file. So I move to the corner. And this man still pushes. Ain't nobody pushing in that position. So of course I'm like, okay, slide the rook on over. What? I can't even begin to think this next move here. Because in this position, this man sacked the queen. He sacked la queen. And I trade. Like, I cannot begin to make this up, guys. White is playing astronomically well. I couldn't even find half these moves, even after studying the game. I'm like, what? Because I study my games OTB rather than using those stupid chess engines. Chess engines teach you absolutely nothing. You have to learn from your mistakes, in my opinion, over the board to actually understand what you're missing. Because it helps you actually see what you're missing, both online and IRL. And I just take the pawn, thinking that I have another trade here, and I'm just up a pawn. Yeah, this man, he still pushes the rook again. And at this point, I thought it was a little fishy. More fishy than before. Like, surely the normal human would just trade there. Because your pawns are better. Surely you just trade rooks there and everything's fine. Yeah, the problem with that theory is, according to the fish, it's an equal position. So my opponent must have found something in that short matter of time. What he found, I don't know. So again, I'm like, trade. You want push? I can push. Trade. And he moves the rook again. So now I chase him. I'm like, okay, give me your rook. You've spent, and I kid you not, 6 of your last 10 moves playing rook moves. So I'm thinking, surely there's something here. Surely I could just win this guy. Surely. Surely I was wrong. Because he just pushes the G-pawn. What? He says, no, I'm full keeping my center, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, there's something I can do about it. Let me break your pawn chain. And this man moves his king. There is no human that's making that move. Rook to f2 is something I would play. 7th rank infiltration, trade rooks, and promote one of these 2 pawns here. But somehow this man just plays that casually. He played that in 4 seconds. 4. So I'm like, okay. This man's just wasted his time. Let me try to push my A-pawn now. I'm at a loss of ideas after I move the rook here. I'm just like, surely I'm hoping I could just push in this game. He moves his king again. What? Couldn't you have just moved like that? You should have been able to just move like that then. What are you doing? Pawn A3. Trade with me, buddy. Let me infiltrate your back rank. He does. And at this position is where things against this 2500 get so ugly. Let's just begin. Rook f3, defending the c-pawn. And here, I push, because now this is a pawn chain against a pawn chain with 2 loose pawns and 2 rooks that are really just standing there menacingly. Rook to b3, attacking the b-pawn. Rook to b6, defending said b-pawn. And the king moves again. Our kings are in literal stalemate right now. Neither of them can move. So rook a1. Trying to, trap the king on the edge of the board. And I kid you not, this man plays e3. That does absolutely nothing. Check. Checkity, check, check. And he moves his king. So now I have an important decision to make. Do I continue to check the king? Or do I go rook d1? Now, to a normal player, rook d1 seems like nothing. What are you trying to accomplish? But my friends, it seems stupid in theory to play rook d1, but you are applying constant pressure to the pawn chain. That is all you're doing. As long as you can continue to pressure black to make horrible moves, you just win. As you can see, this game is almost done. King f4. King to f4, again, a move that I cannot begin to describe. And in this position, I realize my goal all along was never to play kingside, but rather my king is the most important piece in this endgame. My king, the only way for black to win here is for my king to move in this sequence. Bang, 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 bang. Push the b pawn, trade, free king. He has to walk the entirety of the board to win. So watch this sequence. h3. And rather than doing anything about it, sack the pawn for a pawn break. I'm pushing b4 early. The engine doesn't like me pushing b4 early, but I don't care. Because rook takes. Rook takes. And now pawn takes. Now you may be wondering, okay, but now what? Now I create opposition. Because the funny part about this position is, as long as I move this rook now to c1, white did not have to do any of that. In fact, he was just fine to keep the position as is. But now, my passed pawn is better. It's barely better than my opponent's. Pawn e6. Desperation mode for my opponent. But I just casually say, no more. Your e-pawn will never promote. Mine, on the other hand, eventually will. Because the thing about white is, he doesn't have a flank pawn anymore. My king does. And so this next sequence ultimately ends the game. Rook e3. A trade of the rooks. And in this position, I accept. Any normal position, every normal positional player here as black would resign. But you know I don't resign when it comes to these positions. It's now a race to stop a promoting pawn on both sides. f6, the only move, preventing white's pawn from promoting, and yet he still pushes it, thinking that he's safe, when in all reality he's not. It's now a 3-on-3, and white's next move will ultimately decide the match. And he plays king to f4. The engine says it's a blunder. But originally, when I said it before, the only way the black wins this position is if the king runs. And that, my friends, is the only reason I win this 2500. King to d7. My king will stop the advancement of the b pawn and begin the advancement of the c promotion. King e3, trying to stop the inevitable, but my friends, it's already too late. c6. d2. And here, in this position, b5. It secures black the win, because no matter what white does with their king, no matter what this player plays, the move that wins the game on the spot, king a4. And as white, you have two options here. Accept defeat or run away. And in this position, my opponent ran away. And by taking this pawn, black is guaranteed the win. The opponent tries to survive a little bit longer, but after c3, king to c1, and the king being quietly tucked behind the pawn, ready to slice the d-pawn, my opponent resigned. That, my friends, is how you play chess at the highest level. Identifying that in a position of two rooks, that the best move may be to just run your king, or it may be to sacrifice a flank pawn, ultimately to win the major battle. And in this position, while my opponent was a great match, he had everything going for him until he sacrificed the rook. And from there, his plans ultimately crumbled. My king could never be stopped. His king could never make it in time. And ultimately, it was never a game for him to win. Always know what you have to do in a position to win, even if it takes more time, which is why I strongly encourage players that are newer to the game to play longer time controls. Fully see the board, fully understand what's going on, and ultimately grasp the knowledge to win. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to defeat a 2500 Rapid in chess. That'll be the end of this video. I will take lunch here, and then here in a little bit, probably at the top of the hour, we will make another video on what your chess opening says about you. And don't worry, it is a very spicy one.